Hey fam, in this video I'm going to explain the poem A Concrete Example. Concrete means something which is real or actual, or we can say which is not imaginary or abstract. My next door neighbor, Mrs. Jones, has got a garden full of stones. Yet the poet introduces his neighbor, Mrs. Jones, and tells us that her garden is unusual because it is filled with stones instead of flowers. Her garden is unique because it is made up of stones rather than the usual flowers and plants. A crazy path, a lily pond, and rockery, and just beyond. The garden has a winding, irregular path, a small pond with lilies, and pieces of old rockery placed as decoration, making it look strange but interesting. Here, the meaning of rockery is a garden decorated with stones or rocks where small plants or flowers are grown between the rocks. We can also call it a stone garden. A sundial with a strange device which Mrs. Jones thinks rather nice. There is a sundial in the garden with a peculiar design. Although it may seem odd to others, Mrs. John finds it attractive and valuable. The meaning of sundial is it's an instrument used to show time by the position of the sun's shadow. My next door neighbor, Mrs. Jones, put little plants between the stones. Here, Mrs. Jones grows very small plants in the space between the stones, showing her careful and patient gardening style. Planting plants between stones is a difficult task as it requires careful efforts, skill, and a lot of patience. They are so delicate and small, they don't mean anything at all. The poet feels that the plants are too tiny to be important or impressive and dismisses them as insignificant or overlook them as unimportant. Here, the word delicate means easily broken or damaged. Don't mean anything is a phrase which means seems unimportant or insignificant. I can't think how she gets them in unless she plants them with a pin. The poet humorously exaggerates their size to be so tiny, joking that they must be planted with the help of pin because they are so small. Planting with a pin is a phrase used humorously to describe very tiny and delicate plants. My next door neighbor, Mrs. Jones, once asked me round to see her stone. Mrs. Jones invited the poet in her garden, proudly calling attention to what she has created. I listened while she talked of flowers for quite a quarter of an hour. The poet says she talks enthusiastically about her flowers for a long time, explaining and giving information about the flowers in detail, but the poet still fails to notice anything special about the flowers and the stone garden. Quite a quarter of an hour is a phrase meaning for almost 15 minutes, but it felt like a long time to the poet because he did not find anything special, or maybe he was least interested. Where is the lovely thing? I cried. Impatiently and confused, the poet asked, where is that beautiful thing she has been talking and describing about? You are standing on it, she replied. Mrs. Jones calmly explains that the poet is actually standing on the beautiful plants, revealing that true beauty is subtle and easily overlooked. In other words, we can say the most beautiful thing in the garden was right under his feet, but because They were tiny, he could not notice them. Sometimes true beauty is hidden in small, unnoticeable things, and we need to look carefully to appreciate them. So, we can say beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Do like, comment, share, and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.